9618. This is paper 2, which is programming fundamentals, and in this video, in this course, we are going to understand about how to write pseudocode, and we are also we will also going to do programming stuff as well. We will start with Visual Studio, right? We will start with VB, and we'll do both. Okay, so I'm going to cover all of those concepts, those topics, those programming concepts, right? How to do programming and how to convert from pseudocode to real programming language. So the reason why I start with Visual Basic is because Microsoft itself has built this language for learning purposes, right? So Visual Basic, which means making making basic programming concept in your head. So let's start with programming. Let's start with paper 2. Okay, so we will start with what is abstraction. Abstraction is something that you are making a software for your customers or making a software for yourself. Okay, but removing but only putting features which is needed, which is essential for your software, instead of putting extra features, extra information which is not required for problem solving. That is abstraction. Okay, you are putting only those details, those essential details needed to solve that particular problem, to make a software. So filtering out information that is not necessary that is not necessary to solve a problem. And abstract data type defines an abstract set of value. Okay, so abstract data type, we will discuss this later. It's an essential part of computational thinking. Okay, it's an essential part of computational thinking. It encourages the development of specified models that are suited to a specific purpose by eliminating any unnecessary characters from that model. So whenever it encourages the development by removing any unnecessary characters from that model. Okay, removing any unnecessary details, those information. Okay, so whenever we try to do abstraction, the time required to develop any kind of software will be reduced. The cost will be reduced. Cost and time will be reduced. It will be smaller in size. The memory will be reduced, and there won't be any kind of extra feature which are not required. Obviously, what the customer wanted, you just give that feature, but not extra features. Okay, so no external features, customer satisfaction is very high. Okay. Identify the what are the stages to have this abstraction in our software. So identify the purpose of the model. What is the purpose? What is the vision and the scope for the software? Why are you building it? Who are you building with? What the customer really wanted? What are the features that the customer has told you that you should add it up? Okay, so yeah, so what you try to do is, first of all, you try to make interviews of your customers, that what they really wanted from the software. What is the purpose of the software? What do they really wanted, and what are the features that they want to include in the software? So you try to take an interview, you store that information, and you just do complete analysis. You make a documentation, and you try to prioritize some things which are most important features to be included in the software. Okay, so doing complete analysis and all that good stuff. Okay, decomposition means that, for example, if you are making a car game, and or for example, if you are making a calculator, right, a scientific calculator, and inside a calculator, for example, this is a calculator, or let me write it here. So this is a calculator, right? So we have square, division, multiplication, subtraction, addition, and we can also convert this into scientific as well. Okay, so this is scientific. These are all functions, right? So you have this you decided to make a software where you decide to make a scientific calculator, right? But this is a huge program. You need to break it down into smaller smaller modules, or you can call it small functions. Okay, so this is what it means. So you're just breaking it down. Yeah, for example, this for there would be a procedure for addition and subtraction and multiplication, and this would be the standard calculator right here. This is the standard calculator. Okay, the standard. There are different functions, scientific, being a programmer, a date calculation. So these are different kind of function and procedures, right? You are making a calculator where it has different functions. So this would be the standard, this would be the scientific, and this would be the programming, and then again you break it down into smaller and smaller until there is nothing left to break it down. It becomes so simpler, and then you try to work out each modules, right? You having a big team, you have a team, and you try to assign each module to the different team member, that you do this and you do that, and then we will do integration, and then we will try to test this whole program into one go, and then we just to launch this app. Okay, so this is how you do it. You try to decompose a problem into sub-problems, lead to the concept of procedures and function, subroutines you can call it. Okay, we will discuss this later. Okay, so algorithm is a step-by-step problem solving. So whenever you try to make an algorithm, you try to do some code, or algorithm means a solution to a problem. Okay, expresses a sequence of defined steps. For example, if you want to bake a cake, then you might have a recipe, right? Bake a cake, a chocolate cake or something like that. Then you might have been given a recipe, and some step that you need to follow in order to make a very delicious chocolate cake. Okay, so you will follow those steps in order to successfully make a cake. Okay, so similarly, if you are for example, if you want to go from A to B, and you are using a Google map, so Google map will give you directions step by step, that you go this, you go that. This is what is mean by algorithm. You're trying to write codes step by step, one after another, in order to successfully solve in order to find the solution of that problem. Okay, so this is known as algorithm. So these are step by step. You're doing step by step. You got line of code, right? 1 2 3 4. Okay. Variable and constant. What are variable and constant? Okay. So variables means a name container that can change its value. Okay, for example, first of all, the variable and constant are containers, boxes. Okay, so for example, this is the box of a variable, this is a box of a constant. Okay, these two are boxes. Now it can change its value. So for example, if I have put 5, but then after that I have just changed to 20 or 32, or if I'm adding strings, if I'm adding strings, characters or name, I have put Vabarts, or for example, if I put, then after that I've put Abdullah, or I am changing the value. So this is what is the meaning of variable. Variable means a name container that can change its value after containing it. It can change its value anytime. That's the most important thing in programming. You try to change values, you try to manipulate the values, and you just update it. And yeah, constant means something that is constant, that should not be changed. A name container having a value, for example, pi. The value of pi is 3.14. It's a constant value. It cannot be changed. So we can just write it down like constant pi. Okay, this is how we try to write it down. Constant identifier value, constant pi is equal to 3.14. okay, this is pseudocode. But if I wanted to write it down in Visual Basic, then it would be write it down like this. Let me show you. Okay, so these are variables, right? These are all variables. These are variables. This is the name of a variable. Variable names. These are names of a variable. These are its data type, that what kind of a data should it contain. Okay, these are data types. And dim is just keywords that dim means declare num1 as integer. These are name. You can take any kind of name, and any kind of name you want. You can put n, or you can a b c d, any kind of name. Okay, after giving a name, you try to specify that what kind of a data that you want to put in here. Integer, character, double, string, boolean, date, or it could be an array, right? So I've decided it should be integer. So num1 will store integer. For example, num1 is equals to 55. Char is equal to t. Okay, num3 will store double. Double means it will store real values. This is another meaning double. Double or float will be these are data. No, it's the same thing. Real is used in pseudocode. Double or float is used in Visual Code, Visual Basic, or Java or Python. Okay, so real means decimal numbers. Double means decimal number. So double is okay. Num3 is equal to 2.56 and all that. Okay. All right. After defining these, okay, these are variables. It can change its value. For example, if I am giving the value 55, but then I have just decided to give the value 107, what will happen? It changed its value. I have changed it. Let me give an output, right? Let me show you. Right line. And then I'm just going to put num1. Okay, and we copy, then I just put in here as well. Okay, and I'm going to run it, and there you go, 5507. Okay, so I've changed its value. But what happens if I try to declare a constant? Constant, I think there's a keyword for this. Const num to 3 as integer, and if I just put 44. Okay, so this is the constant. This is a constant, and its name is num23 and its value is 44, and you cannot change its value. For example, if I try to okay, this is how you give comments, right, like this. Okay, so these are comments. Okay, so I have just convert this into comments, which means that it will not be counted as a line of code. It will be neglected. This is useful for programmers like us in order to make it more user friendly. So whenever we try to write down code, we try to make sure that we try to make some notes that okay, this code will work like this, and add on all that. Okay, you can, if you want, you can write comments while write it down pseudocode as well. When you give the paper, you can do comments. Okay, you can comments like this, giving us double slash, and then you can give a comment in pseudocode. Okay, so const num23 as integer is 44. For example, if I want to change its value, if I am trying to changing like 55, it will give an error. Constant cannot be the target of an assignment. Constant value cannot be changed. Okay, that's what I am telling you. That's the difference between variables and constant. Variables can change its value, constant cannot change its value. Otherwise, they can hold the name, they can have any kind of name, and they can have any kind of data types. So that's the difference. Alright, so variable, constant, all done. And let's start with data type. Data types means I have already just told you, this is a data type: integer, char, double, string. Let me give it an introduction. 45. This one can store single characters. For example, if I am giving a, okay, I have given a single quote, but in pseudocode it will be given double quote. Remember that it will be given double quote in pseudocode. It will be given double quotes like this, but in VB it will be given single quote. That's the difference. Okay, bear in mind. Okay, so I'm giving the value single character, which is char. This is char. Okay, and double, you can give any decimal numbers for 4.55, or for example, if I'm giving 207 point anything, right? String, I can give the name of anything, any kind of characters or parts. Booleans means true or false, so I'm giving as true. Okay, let's write down some code. This is constant, right? So yeah. Okay, for example, I'm giving the, okay, you know what, I'm doing so fast. Let me slow it down myself. Okay, so these are data types: integer, real, char, string, boolean, date, and array. And okay, so there are two types of data types. The first one is the user this is default data type. Data type, you can call it built-in data types. Built-in data types. But record structure is a user-defined data types. It's a user-defined data types. So what is a structure? What is a record structure? Record structure is something that you try to you are trying to, for example, you are making another data type, but that data type consists of so many other data type built-in data types. Okay, for example, if you want to have a data type known as month, so month is the name of the data type, type month, and then you having for example declare, I'm writing this in pseudocode, declare day as integer. Okay, declare is fab as boolean. Okay, so you have these two built-in data types, and it's contained in the user-defined data type in month. Then I can just make a variable of this data type, and then let me show you in VB code. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys. Okay, this is name of the structure. Okay, so it will be outside of the method and should be, so I'm going to write down here. define structure. Okay, it will have the keyword this, and now let's begin. So dim title as string, wait, okay, as string, dim dim publisher as string, dim pages, number of pages as int, as integer, dim price of this book as double, you can call it real. Okay, so this is actually real. This thing here is, this double means real. Okay, so I have make a record structure. This is a record structure, and if I want to write down in in pseudocode, then it would be written down like type tbook then we have declare title as string, declare publisher as string, declare number of pages as integer. Okay, and so on, and then you will write it down and type. So this is your user defined data type. Okay, I have created this, and now let's see how I can just use it. So I'm going to declare dim let's say my book, dim my book as the T book record, T book, or let me just change this, T book. Okay, and there you go. I have made my user define, I made my variable, and the data type of this is user defined, which is T book. Now I have created this variable, right? My book dot, using dot I can access these data types. So dot title is equals to how to code. Okay, this is the title. Then I can just put a price, right? So putting a price, the price would be $35.66, or you can call it okay, my book dot what is the number of page? The number of pages are 120, and if I want, I could just, okay, let me just remove all of this. Okay, done wrong again. Yeah, there you go. Okay, now let me just give an output, console dot writeLine. Console dot writeLine is my book dot title, my book dot price, okay, yeah, and then I'm going to put this, and then my book dot price, and there you go. My book dot number of pages. Okay, so I have made this. Okay, how will you try to write down in pseudocode form? So it's very simple. This would be okay, so wait, there you go. Okay, you can just write down type tbook, declare title, then semicolon as wait. Okay, let me. Okay, so type tbook, declare title, semicolon, string, declare this, semicolon, string, declare this, semicolon, teacher, declare this, semicolon, double, and type. This would be written down as and type. This would be here as type. Then you will write down the name, okay, which is tbook. Then after making this, it would not be inside a main. It should be different. It should be outside of the main. Okay. Then you try to make you try to declare a variable having a data type of tbook, and then you just access these variables inside a structure. Okay. And now I'm going to console.writeLine means output. So you are giving the output and giving the output. Okay, there won't be any kind of giving the output my book dot title, and then you just put a colon, right? This is used for it's used in here in VB as and it's used as colon. Okay, then my book dot price colon, and then it's complete. Okay, so now let me write down let me run it. What should be the answer? What should be the output, if I should say? The output is how to code 36.66 120. Okay, let me give some gaps. Let me give a gap. So I'm going to give a gap, then here another gap should be worth it. There you go, and then putting another one, and let's do it again. And there you go, they are different. How to code 35.66 and 120. Okay, this is how you do it. So this is record structure, and this is how you access those variables inside a record. You try to give the values, and it happens. So this is how you do declaration in pseudocode. Declare num as integer, declare gender as char, flag as boolean, currency as real, name as string. And as for an array, okay, we'll discuss this later. For now, let's move on. We will discuss this later. We will go through this later. Let's come to input, process, output. Input. Okay, so right here so input, process, output. Input means giving a message, like for example you can say input, enter your number. This is how you give the message. Okay, enter your number, message close, and then you just try to give an input num1. You can do like this, or you can just give input directly without giving a message. This is a message and this is a value, the variable, okay, that you are giving an input. Process means having a sequence. You do in sequence form. You are initializing it. Initialize means giving values. Like for example, number is equal to 0, name is WBAATZ, and you're doing assignment. Assignment means incrementing or decrementing. Incrementing, increasing value by 1 or by 2 or by 3. Decreasing value by 1, by 2, by 3. For example, C is equal to 35, and then you just decide to do like C minus 1. Then C would be 34. Okay, after you try to print out, you try to show in the console. So increment, decrement, or you can just you are changing value, giving assignment. Assignment means giving value. Okay, changing values, sorting values. This is initialize, this is assignment. And in the process it also includes something like selection. Okay, selection means that conditional statements. That's the meaning of selection. So there are two types of conditional statements. The first is if, then, else, and if, and the second one is case of otherwise. Okay, so there are two types of actions. So if, then after giving an if keyword, you give the condition. If it is true, then it will run this statement, and if it is false, then it will run this statement. Again, there's another version of this. If condition is true, it will run this. If it is false, then else if this condition is true, run this. If it is false, then else if this condition is true, run this. If it is false, then else it will run this. Okay, it's this if then else, and this right here is case of otherwise. You try to give options, like for example, you're giving buttons. If you press 1, you will get this. If you press 2, you will get this. So similarly, if you given A as a input, you will get this output. If you press any of these words, F or U, you will get this output. If you press from B to E, I've given some dots, right, which means B to E, then you will get this output. Otherwise, invalid grade. If you got an A, top grade. If you got F or U, fail. If you got B to E, pass. Otherwise, you have given an invalid grade, which means the input that you have given is not a char, it's something else. It might be an integer, it might be a string, but it's not char. It's an invalid input, which means it will give the output as otherwise means invalid grade when it's not meeting any of these criteria. So that selection, if, then, else, and case of otherwise. Then we have these arithmetic operations. These are simple operations, right? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, power, find dividend. Div means finding a dividend, and mod means finding the remainder. We got these comparison method which we try to use in here in the if, then, else statements. Okay, for example, let me give an example. For example, if A is greater than B, or if A is equal to B, if A is equal to B, or if A is not equal to B, then this will happen this, and that will happen that. That's how you use it. As for these Boolean operators, it is also used in if, then, else statement as well. For example, if A is equal to 1 and B is equal to 0, then do this. Or if A is equal to 3 or B is equal to 2, then do this. Or you can write down like this: if A not if not, then A is equal to 1, which means if A is not equal to 1. This is how you write down not, but it's not that useful. I mean, it's correct, but we don't use it that much, right? We can just use like this, A and B. So these are, if you have studied logic gates, then obviously it might be easier for you, right? You have gone through that concept, that what is A, what is N, and what is OR. If you get N, you got two statements. These are two statements. Okay, you have these two statements. If these two statements are true, then it will be true. If any one of them become false, then the whole statement becomes false. But in here, or if either one of these statement becomes true, like one, this is true, this is false, it will become true. If this is 0, this is 1, it will become true. But if both of them are false, then it will become false. But right in here, if any one of them becomes false, then it will become directly become false. Because if you try to multiply it, 1 multiplied 0 is 0, 1 multiplied 1 is 1. Then if you try to add them up, you will get the answer like this. It's very simple, really. You might have gone through logic gates, you might have gone through my videos, so I think you will get hang of it. Okay, we will do this kind of questions, so don't worry about it. So I think that I think this is it for now. Very huge topic though. So this should be the part 1, and the part 2 we will try to understand about iterations and the bubble sorting, arrays. We have so much to cover, but for now let's put it in here. Let me do some question for these. So let me try to make some. Let me try to show you how to do conditional statement and how to give an input and output. So let me remove all of this. Let me remove this as well. Okay, I'm giving a message. So console dot read line, console dot write line. It will give the message enter your number. Okay, then I'm going to give the value. Okay, first of all I need to declare something. Dim num1 as integer. Okay, dim num2 as integer. Okay, now I'm giving enter your number 1, so I'm giving the number 1. Then let me just do copy paste. Enter your number 2 and you will get number 2. Okay, now I'm going to put conditional statement. If num1 is greater than num2, okay, sorry, if num1 is greater than num2, then console dot write line number 1 is greater. I'm going to write down like this: num1 is greater. Okay, else if it is not, if it is false, then what will happen? Else num2 is greater. Okay, okay, so let's try. Okay, enter your number, let's say 44. enter your number 2, 88, num2 is greater. So that's how you do, that's how you put conditional statements. Okay, for example, if I want to put nested if, okay, yeah, nested statement. What is meant by nested statements? Nested statements, or putting nested if or nested case, which means, what is meant by that? It means that you're putting if and then again you're putting if, this or that, if then else, this or and if. You're putting if putting an if statement in another if statement, putting if in another if. This is known as nested if. Okay, the same thing applies in case statement as well. Okay, so let me show you how it's happening. For example, if then I'm putting another if num1 is greater than 0, then only then I will say that it is num1 is greater and is positive. Okay, if it is the statement true, then if true, then if and if it is not true, else num2 is greater. So this is how you put conditional statements. Okay, so if I run this, let me put -5 -33. You got nothing because I haven't put it. Like -4 is greater than num2, so it should be okay. Num1 is greater than num2. Okay. Num1 is greater than num2, but num1 is not greater than 0. That's why we haven't got the got the statement, because it is less than 0. Okay, so let me try again. 55, 44, and then voila, num1 is greater than and it is positive. So this is how you put nested statements, and let me show you how you can put the same thing as in in case as well. Okay, so I have done all of this. Conditional statements. Okay, case of otherwise as well. Now let me just convert this into case. So case, switch case. No. Switch case of num1 case. Okay, I am doing something wrong. Let me see what I am doing wrong. Okay, it would be select num1. Okay, and then you got this. If for example you have 1, then it will give an output of of this. Okay, but for example, if you are having case 2, as if you have put case 3, then you will say apple, you will say banana, and if you put case 5, you will put mango. For example, if you are buying from a store and you need to put you need to give the digits in order to get the fruits. So these are the cased. Otherwise, I think it should be otherwise. Case else, I think. Case else should be wrong input, try again. Sorry, should be again. No and no a. Okay, so I have made this case of otherwise case statements. Okay, and let me just write down. Let me just run the code. Let me run it. Okay, I've run it. It's asking for a number. If I put 1, I will get apple. If, for example, if I put 3, I will get banana. And for example, if I put any wrong, for example, if I'm giving a char, even though it's asking for integer, I will get, what will I get? Okay, I will get an error though. It's an exception error. Okay, let me just do it again. For example, if I am giving 41, 44, wrong input, try again. Okay, so this is conditional. This is a case of otherwise. But in pseudocode, okay, let me write down in pseudocode. So this is, it would be written down as case of it should be written down like case of num1, okay, like I've done in here. Case of grade, this, otherwise this, end case. So similarly, case of number, case, oh wait, I'm not going to write down case. I will write down 1, then you give an output, apple, you put 3, you give an output. Okay, so giving 3, then it should output banana. Okay, if you are giving output as 5, then it should be given. If you are given input 5, then it should be given output as mango. Okay, then otherwise output wrong input, my friend, wrong input, and end case. Okay, so this is how you try to write down case statements. This is in coding, and this in pseudocode. Then case of grade, giving a or f, or you can give in multiples values as well. So same thing, if I maybe I can give multiple values. Okay, I can give multiple values, or to okay, I can give multiple values right here. If I just give from 9 to 12, and I just run it. If I just put 5, it will give an apple as well. So I can do in this way as well. Okay, and it is possible to do this in pseudocode as well. This is in pseudocode, don't worry about it. So giving these, if you give value 1, then this statement will run, or this statement will run, or this statement will run, otherwise this statement will run. So this is AND case, this is if then else statements. Okay, and this is input process output. Yeah, okay, so power. Okay, so these are very basics, and we have gone through all this. We will look out for we will look this array, but in the next part, in the next video. So for now I think it's enough. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in